Hey guys, this is Allison Angelis from Silicon Sanctuary. We're providing you a series of YouTube videos that will be on many different topics. The next several ones will be on personal empowerment and self-awareness and how that can translate into really great things in your life and your kids' lives and everyone that's around you. So basically, you know, this is the day and age of mindfulness, and we hear those words all the time. What does it mean? What does it do for me personally? How do I get it? Do I care about it? So another way for talking about mindfulness is talking about self-awareness. Self-awareness to me is partially mind mastery and having mastery of choosing the thoughts that come into your head that are more preferable, more empowering, and just better feeling. And how does that work? Well, every day within a minute you have 60 different thoughts that translate into language. All the things that we recognize as thoughts, we are actually, if you think about it, translating into words and sentences. So try it for a minute, sit with yourself for 60 seconds. It's a fun game to play, and think of all the thoughts in your head as they come and say them out loud. Also within a day, 60 to 70,000 thoughts are coming into your head. And with those 70,000 thoughts, somewhat unfortunately, about 80% of them are not empowering, and they're in fact negative. And I think if you think about it, you'll notice that that's what we all struggle with. Some people call it the holy war. Some people call it just life. Some people call that reality. But I'm going to show you how to choose the thoughts that serve you and use those to empower you and the people that you're around in every environment that you're in. Yay! So basically, if you live in the Silicon Valley, which is a wonderful place in so many ways, it usually means that you've mastered manifesting abundance, wealth, and that's a certain level of personal power, because with that comes expansiveness and freedom in many ways. So that's a great thing. If you've manifested wealth, which if you're living here means you have on many, many levels, that means that you are a master of intent and manifesting something. Now, that's not the whole package, right? So we might have abundance, but there's a lot of other parts to our life where we seek fulfillment, which we may not have. What are they? Well, of course, the first thing we think about are relationships. So relationships, we don't usually think about the relationship with ourselves, but that's where everything begins. So in the pie chart that I'm talking about, the first quarter, let's say, it's not necessarily the first thing, but here in Silicon Valley, let's say it's abundance. The second quarter of the pie chart is self-awareness, knowing your mind, choosing the thoughts that are empowering and that serve you, and knowing who you really are, your authentic self, the real you, not the person that you've cooked up until now, which is usually what we call the egoic self. Not that that's a bad thing, but you really want to know who you really are at the deepest level, not just the one that we've sort of been domesticated to become through our culture, our families of origin, our schooling, the whole program that we've gone through. Usually if you live here again in this valley, you've gone through that program, you've been a winner, succeeding in, you know, the game, which is, you know, doing really well in school, getting really great grades, which put you in really great environment, which give you really great credentials, which put you in a place to make a lot of money and then buy things and then, you know, create that dream, which is not all bad. Yet there's a lot more to the whole picture. So let's figure out how we can get the whole picture going for you, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So back to the pie chart, we've got abundance, which is not necessarily number one. I'd rather put it in number 4, and I'll show you that later. Secondly is your personal self, your authentic self, self-awareness, and mind mastery. Super fun stuff. You can do it and you will get it. And also it's so great. I can't wait to teach your kids, college age, high school, and middle schoolers. It's extremely important. Our generation and the generations before us, our parents and our grandparents, really didn't have this knowledge. Some of the greatest manifestors of all time did have this knowledge, and they were masters at this through practice, and this is why they've contributed to their community, society, and the world so greatly, because they've learned about their own personal power. The next part of the pie chart: abundance, self-awareness, the authentic self, mind mastery. Third part: relationships, relationship with self, relationships with your significant other, spouse, relationship with your children. Really important. I'm going to show you how to be really amazing parents, and if you can get this knowledge now, you're gonna be so pumped. Relationships with your family of origin, your extended family, your friends, and relationships with coworkers and everybody else that you come in contact with. And having that really stepped up to the next level is going to really be a game changer for you. And finally, in the fourth part of the pie chart is your life's purpose. What is it? Do you have it already? If so, how can you refine that, get more of it? And if you don't have it, what is it? How do I find it? And how do I manifest that? And it's really fun and really cool. So we're going to talk about all those things. So let's start with the first part, which is not the abundance part, but let's talk about self-awareness, mindfulness, okay? So basically, going back to the thoughts that come into your head every day, these are energy. Everything, and I mean everything, is energy. Your physical body is energy. The thoughts that come into your head is energy, or are energy. All your surroundings are made up of energy. And as we know, energy flows and does not cease to exist. It flows when it's not contained. When you contain it, when you stop it, then it gets stuck. So if a thought comes into your head, you contain it, you stop it, you indulge in that thought, you tell a story about that thought, you call it reality, and you have the feelings that are associated with that thought, and then you have emotions that you feel or actually express that are based on that thought, and then eventually it resides in your physical form, your physical body as well. So what is self-awareness? How does it work with these levels? Thoughts, feelings, emotion, physical body. When we don't have awareness, we're not even aware that we're thinking a thought, and we might have a feeling or a sensation instead. And that feeling or sensation, again, very often will be disempowering and negative. And it'll feel something like this. It'll feel like, gosh, I'm really worried. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling angry. Anything that's in the fear and lack category. Those are thoughts that create a negative feeling, okay? And the good news with that is, if you're aware that you're having a feeling that's negative, you can think of what the thought is, and then you can sit with that thought and observe it. Just sit with it, observe it, allow it. Just say, don't resist it, because as you know, what you resist will just continue to persist. But sit with it, allow it to be there, present with you, and just breathe into it and say, what am I thinking? Wow, I'm really worried if I don't pay my electric bill, by the end of the week, my electricity is going to be turned off. But in this present moment, is your electricity turned off? No. Is everything fine in this very present moment? Most probably, yes. So you have to be aware that a lot of these negative thoughts are either based in the past, thinking, worried about things about the past, regret, remorse, shame, somewhat nostalgia, things like that. Sometimes past thinking can be fun, and you can be thinking of something pleasant, but in general, it's put in the fear and lack category. Another place that our thoughts reside is in the future. Worried about the future, worried about other people for the future. So what does that look like? I feel anxious, I feel overwhelmed, I need to do this, and those types of thoughts that create those types of feelings, right? Again, when you sit and allow them to come, you realize that in this present moment right here, maybe action doesn't need to be taken, okay? If the action does need to be taken, then you've sifted through all the things that are not real, that are not happening right in this present moment. You sit with them, observe them, inhale it, and exhale through your breath. Again, the energy not contained flows, and you just allow those thoughts and feelings to pass. If you have something to do, then you can do it, and it feels empowering. It won't feel overwhelming or anything in that fear and lack category. Something's wrong, something's missing. Okay, so we always want to approach what we need to do from a position of power. And the position of power is always truth. That might sound woohoo, but you'll see later on. I will train your mind to see this. So again, the awareness is to catch the thought through the feeling that it creates, to sit with it, allow it, observe it, take what's truth and use it, and merely expel through your breath. In yoga, we call it pranayama. They talk about it in like just about every philosophy and religion that has existed about this process. Toltecs, even Christianity and Buddhism, the Tao, going with flow, etc. We could talk about that more later. So again, self-awareness, thought comes in, it's energy. Thought only remains when we contain it, label it, indulge in it, choose it, call it reality, have stories about it, share it with others, okay? So let's choose things that empower us. Let's pass on the things that disempower us and that feel bad, okay? So thought creates a feeling. Feeling might be, I have a headache, or I have these feelings of anxiety or something, which then goes into emotion. Emotion is an expressed feeling. This is where we get in trouble a lot, as we all know. Remember, choice is in there. Once you have the thought, you can choose, okay? Don't let it choose for you. You're going to choose. So we have emotion, which is an expressed feeling. And then finally, if we don't catch it at that level, remember that next, where does it go? Into the physical body. And we can talk more about that later. That's a lower vibrating density. Thought is the highest vibrating energy. Okay, so great. So one thing you can do during your day to notice some of the thoughts that you're thinking is keeping a journal is always very empowering. Just a little tiny notebook. And here's one little homework assignment I'm going to give you. It's so easy, and it's actually really fun. You can do it. You can do it with your family can do it, kids can do it, but this will definitely translate into personal power. So notice where you fall into two categories of thought. One is victim and the other is judge. Pretty much without self-awareness, without this mindfulness, we have these thoughts regularly which fall into these two categories. And once we see this, we can start eliminating these two categories of thoughts that take up so much of our personal power and so much of our energy during the day. And guess what? Once you get that sorted out, you have a tremendous, vast amount of energy and personal power to now create and manifest things that you choose that are really awesome. Think about it. It's going to be great. So what does victim and judge thoughts look like? Victim thoughts, judge thoughts. Judge thoughts, of course, it's pretty obvious. Notice in your mind as you're observing out in your day where you're judging everything. It's normal, okay? It's human, right? But again, we only want to expend energy in things that are empowering to us. So notice, do you need to have all those judging thoughts? And not only are you judging others, you're in fact showing where you're judging yourself. Okay, basically, when you're thinking thoughts of that are unloving and unkind to others, it directly affects you in an unloving and unkind way. So you probably have lived like this a tremendous amount of our lives, or maybe don't even have an awareness. A lot of us say, well, I'm not judgmental, but we all are. So just notice where we are and notice where you can be more open and expansive. The more open, expansive, and accepting you are about all things, all beings, you're going to feel so much better about yourself, and you're going to have so much more personal power and lightness in you. So take notes and write all your judging thoughts in the day. Okay, and don't judge yourself for judging. That's the great one, right? All right, the other category is victim. So victim goes like this: why does this always happen to me? You know, why are they talking to me like this? Why doesn't so-and-so like me? Why am I always, caught in traffic? Why this? Why that? Poor me. That kind of talk. Again, it's in the fear and lack category. Something's wrong, something's missing. Same with the judgment, fear and lack, where something's wrong, something's missing. And it disempowers us. It takes a lot of energy to have these thoughts, and that depletes us of our personal power. So do that for a few days or a week if you want, or maybe a day or two. It's kind of fun, and notice, and it's really exciting to learn about yourself. So then once we start to see these things, we can start just flowing them, just by merely taking in a breath and exhaling. And if you want, you can make a little cutting motion and just cut the energetic cord from these thoughts. It sounds a little bit like woohoo, but I guarantee if you try it, you're going to find energetic difference in yourself. Okay, so next, everything is energy, remember? So we're trying to teach you how to empower yourself. The next video, we will talk about your egoic self, which is the self that you've grown to this date, which is not a bad thing. It's everything that you've manifested in your life. And started out with your family of origin. It starts out your culture, your beliefs, where you live, your experiences, your appearance, your body, where you live, everything that's associated, your education, all these things are part of your ego story. So, it goes like this: my name is blank, I'm this many years old, I have this many children, or I don't have children, I am married or I'm not married, I live in this town, I do this for a living, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's the egoic self. We all have one, have awareness of what it is, okay? The other self that we have is known as the authentic self or the divine self. And that is the unlimited self and the self that's not really put in a box, okay? And we're going to talk more about how you can tap into that other self to recreate yourself and have more expansion and more personal power, okay? And more integrity. And it's really, really cool, and it's really fun. So egoic self is also built on story. We're going to talk about stories that we hold on to, which create core beliefs, core beliefs are where we really can limit ourselves. Again, we're trying to become more powerful, so we don't want limitations. So the core beliefs are parameters. It's a box that we create, and it sets rules and boundaries, and we want to see how we can expand beyond that. And then, so we have egoic self, the story, core beliefs. Then we're going to talk about intent, which is choosing things that we want to manifest, which is finally gets to the fun stuff, which it all actually is fun, which is manifesting. And as we talked about, if you live in the Silicon Valley, you've manifested quite a bit. And actually, if you live anywhere else, it doesn't matter. You've manifested basically everything that is in your life right now, which is a hard thing for some people to wrap their head around. But think about it. Every single thing, the car you drive, the house you live in, the people that you're associating with, the spouse that you're with or not with, the way you dress, your appearance, the way you speak, these are all choices that we've made and we've manifested. Now, we can talk a little bit more about the things that we think that we haven't chosen and that have been put on us. And there are some degrees of truth about that in our domestication and our families of origin. And we're going to talk about how we can move that energy so that we can make ourselves who we really want ourselves to be, which are amazing, fulfilled lives with great relationships with ourselves, with our spouses, living our life's purpose, and being wonderful parents, and just feeling a lot of energy and joy every day. It is true that you can have these things, and I'm going to show you how. So tune in for our next several videos. I'm also going to have videos specifically for college age kids, high school kids, and middle schoolers. And this is the adult segment of this. So I've got so much to talk to you guys about. I'm super pumped, I'm super excited. And if this even has one seed for you to germinate into something more powerful for you, then I've done my job. And I suspect it has. And if it's triggered something in you or you're feeling a little discomfort, that's good too. Sit with it, allow it, and see what's true for you. Take it in, use it, and just merely let go of what isn't serving you. So remember your homework, the victim judge journal, and we're going to talk a little bit more on personal empowerment in the next video. All right, look at my website, www.siliconsanctuary.co. Read the articles. We're going to have lots more YouTube videos. We're going to talk about mental and emotional empowerment and wellness. And then we're going to talk about physical wellness and empowerment. And finally, we're going to talk about leveling up and tapping into the flow. All right. Thanks for listening. I'm Allison Angeles. Namaste. The divine light in me salutes the divine light in you.